Okay, so I think we are live. All right, guys. Sorry about that. So can you guys hear me? Is anybody out there?
Yes, we're out here.
I see you're there, Robert. Let's see. Trying to figure out where. I got all these help pages up. There we go. There we go. Okay, good. Okay, finally. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much for hanging in for like 15 minutes. Maybe it was, as we have Robert here, maybe it was all the servers being tied up for President Bush or something. So good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
So, Robert, did you have what did you want to talk about today? And for everybody out there, this is Robert Culver. That's been a great supporter of the channel and has definitely contributed a lot with comments and all.
Hey, everybody.
So, what do you feel like talking about today, Robert?
Well, there's so many subjects to go over or to talk about. It's hard to really pick one that stands out, but I guess the most important thing right now to me is the radiation that's coming down on us day and night that is being, of course, grossly underreported by you know who. We can't say, but it's very, plants are dying, crops are dying, food shortages are coming, and it's just it's not good.
For sure. I mean, we've seen now UVC is being measured at ground level, and that's not supposed to happen.
Yes, and there's even more than that, more rays that beyond that aren't, that aren't even mentioned beyond UVC, UVA, UV, anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, you can notice that it just feels different when you're out there.
Yeah, definitely. It's dangerous. You got to stay protected.
Yep, definitely. It's it's one of those cases where you have to definitely use sunscreen for sure, but healthy sunscreen as well.
Yes, non-toxic.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Just basically what you want to do is just use stuff that's purely natural, and there's quite a few different brands out there, but don't forget to put it on for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Anything else you wanted to talk about, Robert?
Well, of course, Planet X is always out there, and just in general, just other everyday things, the earthquakes, the man-made or natural or whatever, and volcanoes going off, of course. We don't know how many of them are going to start popping off all at once again. We need to be careful of the sulfur dioxide. I bought masks, to help with the dust and the ash, because the ash is already in the atmosphere going around, and so is the sulfur dioxide. But I don't know if masks really at one point can help or point the sulfur dioxide, but it can help with the masks. Like you see them wearing masks in parts of Asia. Seeing them people walking around with the face masks on, the pollution in China when it's so bad and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've definitely had people recommend doing that for sure.
Yeah.
And they do so much chemtrail spraying. They were spraying like so bad down at the beach, just right on the shore.
Yeah, those chemtrails. I've been looking at chemtrails since the latter 90s. They've been going on. And I talked to people and talked to people. I was blue in the face about chemtrails, and no one looks up in the sky. People just quit looking up in the sky. They I don't know what else you can do, to wake people up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and anybody that denies the chemtrail thing, I have to be suspicious of, because it's so obvious and so blatant.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And it's been proven it's in the water, the barium and the
aluminum.
Aluminum and all that stuff. It's in the water, and plus it's been in the crops. Top now the UVC's coming down, raining down on it, killing the crops on top of that. So that's a double whammy to the Earth's agriculture.
Definitely.
So, we just have to grin and bear it the best we can, stay positive and, no fear.
Yep. I see NanoBabe just did a comment, and it's a good comment. pH test your urine strips. That wouldn't be a bad idea to do, and it lets you know how alkaline you are as well. That's really a good idea. And it's just crazy because they spray, and we know they're spraying more stuff than besides the aluminum and the barium. There's definitely been biologicals that have been found, viruses and bacteria in different tests. And so often they'll spray, and people will just simply get sick right afterwards. You could see it. One of my good friends goes jogging all the time down by the beach, and when they're spraying, she'll come back and she'll have bronchitis that'll last for a while afterwards. Some people seem to be more sensitive than others to the chemtrails.
Yeah, I get shortness of breath now when I'm out at a certain time of the day when it's extreme. I get, if I walk too far in it, I just lose my breath. It takes my breath away.
Wow. Yeah, I get that. I feel that too out there. Well, Robert, thank you so much for calling in. We're going to move on to let somebody else give a call in. And thank you again for all your support and being such a consistent part of this Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Okay, brother. Thank you. And best wishes to everyone else out there. And namaste.
Namaste, my friend. Take care.
You too.
Okay, so we have an open line. Anybody want to give a call in? And lots of good comments out there. Yep. Activated charcoal and water plus lemon juice. Thank you for calling in. You're on the air.
Hello, Michael. Good evening.
Good evening. And who do we have here?
Will Gray Eagle here.
Hey, what's happening, Will?
I'm doing outstanding. I'm out here at Indian Rocks Beach, chilling out here in my hammock here before I go home. Decided to talk to you before I got back on the bike and run.
Nice.
So let's see. They were talking about the last gentleman was talking about chemtrails.
Yep.
Up here in the St. Petersburg, Tampa region, I'm paying attention to what's going on. I'm outside a lot during the day, and I'm looking at all the arborism, the trees. The palm trees specifically are starting to show the signs of scorching, and when I get up close to most of these trees, they also have these parasitic infestations rather, that I'm familiar with because of all the landscaping I've done when I was younger. And it's specific to the beach region. It's not really, it's showing up somewhat inland, like away from the barrier island, but it's not, it's consistently patterning around the beach. So what I'm contemplating here is it may actually have a lot to do with UV exposure, because of obviously how water reflects sunlight. It would also reflect things such as UV, cosmic rays, radiation, that sort of thing. So we have to wonder if there's something afoot here as far as that goes, and also bizarre military activity that's not usual for our area. Also, I can speak from experience that because I've lived here since I was 8 years old. about 96, 97 is when I moved down here from Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area. We're not used to seeing completely blacked out special forces type helicopters flying in formation in our area. Well, that's actually something I'm seeing quite a lot around here lately. And who knows why? I mean, all I can do is, go off of what my own knowledge base is. I'm looking at 2 blacked out helicopters. They're Blackhawks, so they can carry up to anywhere from an 8 to 12 man team. Both of them. The reason why I say 8 to 12 is because you got 8 men with heavy equipment, or just 12 men with light equipment. And those helicopters are meant to deploy special operations teams, insert them rather rapidly, and exfiltrate them rather rapidly. So that's sort of a mystery as well, because they appear to be doing training exercises, flying fast and low. And I don't know why for, because you got posse comitatus. You're not supposed to be doing that sort of thing so close to civilians and on American soil, right in front of people, regular everyday people. And most people just don't seem to notice it or care anyway. What do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's scary when we see the damage that's being done to the trees and all the plants. And when Rex, over at Leak Project, did his trip and went through New Mexico and Colorado, and he was just stunned with everything that was dying over there. And I see it over here too. I see it too, and other people in other areas are telling me about it as well. So it's definitely something going on. Maybe it's, whether it's just all the UV coming down, killing everything, or maybe, a combination of that with the things that they are spraying. Definitely a lot of unusual military activity as well going on. People are mentioning all the time. So it does feel weird. And I was going to have Asia on, and I haven't been able to get in contact with her because, she has other people that she's in contact with as well. People, that are good sources besides the archangels. And so there's just a lot of buzz out there as to the possibility of something sort of like a 9/11 coming again that's bigger. And so, just kind of like what you were just saying, Will, there's something else coming up, false flag, you can feel it.
With Trump in Singapore right now, Kim Jong-un, him talking, what's that? The hamburger diplomacy, I don't know. But yeah, something is afoot here, because I looked at I don't know if you're familiar with Jeff Berwick, the dollar vigilante. Mm-hmm. One of the things I've been looking for as one of the first shoes to drop when we get attacked, I foresee, if you will, I visioned an economic disaster, a collapse. And it stems from, I specifically have seen, it would, a headline, in my vision, I'm looking at a newspaper, and it's a headline, it says, cyber attack, China blamed, stock market, loss. And that's what they're going to start with. That's how they're going to soften us up, if you will. And then, Asia came in with her foresight, her knowledge on what's supposed to be the nuclear detonation over the Dakotas. That makes absolute perfect sense to me strategically, because if you wanted to take out if you wanted to weaken or soften up 2 NATO powers at once, you're gonna affect a wide area of the grid in both, not just the United States, but in Canada as well. And the reason why Russia would want to do that is because we would not see them coming from the north. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
We would not see them coming from the north. We do expect to get attacked on our shores, and I understand China is training very, very specifically in the direction of amphibious style warfare, much like our Marines do. And our Marine Corps, actually, I mentioned a while ago that I wanted to inform you as to what our military was doing differently than it has been. There's this overnight decision to overhaul our common troops' technological capabilities. You have to understand that Suddenly the common infantryman is being given war tools of war that are specifically really supposed to be in the hands of our special operations guys. Very limited issue stuff. The Marines are now changing not only their training, but their equipment to be lighter and more mobile as well, which would suggest that they're moving into a posture that would, they're expecting attack on our soil, and the Marines are going to be defending American soil. And the type of equipment and weapon issue that I'm looking at, what Marines are getting now, specifically seems to indicate that. Not just that, but also to have the caliber and the fighting capability to compete with Russia and China's own technology, which in some ways is superior to our own. Was it I couldn't really, I thought they were going to attack Taiwan for the longest time because of these dredging, the dredging they were doing in the South China Sea. This goes back to like 2-3 years. They're dredging up the South China Sea, and they're doing what Japan did in World War II, where they're building these island redoubts, landing strips, and they're edging closer and closer and closer to Taiwan. We have a treaty obligation to protect Taiwan. If I was the admiral in charge of that base, I would do no such thing. I would pull anchor if the Chinese were attacking. I would pull anchor and run. That fleet is the oldest fleet we have. I believe it's 7th Fleet. Those ships are all old, pending decommission. Some of them actually still in service from World War II. Our naval strength is, I mean, if we had to go into we haven't seen this since World War II, ship to ship naval skirmishes. If we had to fight China, I'd be actually deathly afraid to do that, because they're very on our toes. They're very on our toes, and their navy is actually really strong. I happen to know that.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you mind me sharing that you are former military. Yeah. So, I mean, I know that you have inside experience, and you've been over fighting, actually, so you've seen it firsthand.
Yeah, I've done 2 tours in Iraq. I've served in both Fallujah in 2006 and Ramadi in 2008. Something that few people actually know about me is that I've actually met, at the time he was Senator Barack Obama, but he became president, obviously we know this. I actually was part of a provisional security detail for 2 weeks where I was assigned to protect him in Ramadi in 2008. I actually met him on 3 separate occasions, and that's something for a different show, obviously. But I could go into length with you as to what that guy was like. So yeah, I have experience with that. And yes, as the Marines are a very naval fighting force. My 3rd deployment was with the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit. I was stationed aboard the USS Bataan. And yeah, we sailed across the Atlantic into the North Sea, down to the Baltic, and I went to England, London. I went through the Mediterranean, Suez Canal. So yeah, I've actually spent quite a bit of time on ship, about 6 months on ship, and that's aside from the workups and the training I did to actually be a part of that Marine Expeditionary Unit.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So. It's like one of the comments out there was that China, Russia, and USA are all part of a big show, but yeah, it is. I mean, and I'm not sure if you agree with that, but I do think it is. And as I said before, I do think that the cabal, the banking end of the Illuminati cabal group, their plan was to shift power east to China and Russia.
Yep.
And my feeling from everything I've seen is that the military-industrial complex wants it to stay here.
Well, you know about the new Silk Road that they're supposed to be, the superhighway that goes between Russia and China. What's that all about? And if you look at addresses that Putin is making, actual speeches that Putin is delivering to whomever, if you look behind him, that Russian Federation flag now has that Romanov family crest proudly emblazoned, proudly displayed yet again behind him. So it seems to be clear indication to me that the Romanovs have resurfaced and they're in charge again.
Yeah, it's all very, very interesting. Well, I could spend all day with you, Will, but I better let somebody else hop on board too. But thank you so much for calling in, my brother. It's always a pleasure.
Outstanding. I'm glad you had me on. Thank you for bringing me aboard. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, my friend. Namaste.
All right. Namaste.
So that was Will Gray Eagle, and as I had said before, he is military. He's been over and he's seen a lot of action, and so very interesting information. So go ahead, guys, and call on in. Whoever wants to come in and call in next. We do have an open line now. And yeah, as Spirit was saying, Putin is one of the smartest people on earth. I do agree. I mean, he does seem very, very knowledgeable, and he doesn't lose his cool. Hello, you are on the air.
Hi.
Hi, you have Michael, and who do I have here?
This is Bonnie.
Hi, Bonnie.
It's weird, you're slower. I'm gonna pause the video. I'm so sorry for that.
No problem.
I'm wondering, EVPs, I've been thinking about it. Could that be something coming from more of an interdimensional standpoint? I know that sounds a little weird, but like an ethereal realm.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, well, it seems like the focus has been on all this like 3D, Russia, China, the States, and I appreciate that globally, but I feel like there are forces at work that operate on a higher level or a lower level, depending, vibrationally. So to me, it would make sense if they can manipulate energy to flicker a light bulb or, you know what I mean, ring a bell. Why couldn't, if they were stronger or if, they kind of banded together, throw that to whip stuff up and make people not pay attention to them.
Right. Well, it's definitely an interesting thought. I mean, I do totally believe that we are basically increasing in vibration and frequency. So, I mean, my thoughts are that we're rising upwards and we're basically going into kind of a different dimension, which would probably make those beings that were in the higher dimension, easier for them to do things and manipulate things in this dimension as we are merging. So that's that's an interesting thought. As far as the EVP, there's different sources. We could think of it in terms of a military attack, and we could also think of it, in terms of like coming from the sun. When the
like a coronal soul flare or something.
Exactly, and really we know it's going to be it's just a matter of when, as far as that goes. As the magnetosphere declines, it's just when. It's not an if. And as far as that goes, but also just when you do look at a lot of the the scriptures and the different traditions. Some of them talk about the return of our star brothers and sisters, or the day of the Lord,
like the prophecy and stuff like that.
Yeah, it really could be that we've just kind of shifted down, and it's the thought has always hit me that maybe we are all, in a sense, the fallen angels, in that we are higher level, higher dimensional beings that have fallen into this 3D experience, and now are raising back upwards.
Sure. It reminds me of the Pistis Sophia. It's an Orthodox text. It's an Apocrypha.
Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me of, like, Pistis Sophia going back up the aeons after having fallen.
Yes.
So, I'm on that train. What I'm hearing is just a lot of people, I think it all interplays. Certainly, you have the countries warring and all that, but, if we're ascending, it would make sense that any low vibrations would be trying so desperately to pull us back.
Exactly. Especially if we're an asset, if we're an asset to them in some way, shape, or form.
Sure, energy. I mean, food,
Yep.
All that negative, that fear, that anger, that hate, that's just food.
Exactly. I agree. I think it's all intertwined, and there's so many different layers to this. I think you're right on.
Yeah, I just, I've been listening and, just hearing people say that. I kind of wanted to throw that out and remind them of that. Like, with this transition, don't get swept up in the news on the, we've all kind of signed up for the Big Brother app, right?
Yes.
So why are we going to pay attention to it? It's a great way to get the message out, as long as you don't get swept away by the message.
Exactly. And see, the power of positivity and the power of, people that have the same sort of vibrations and the same intent. Like, we have one viewer out there that made a comment that she was in pain when this started, and the pain has gone away. So it's just being around people that are throwing off the same sort of vibration. Realize that as we go up in vibration, as we're heading up through the dimensions, everything manifests so much quicker. So it's like our whole power is just increasing tremendously, especially when we band together.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, God bless you, Michael. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Oh, it was my pleasure. It's great to meet you, Bonnie. Thank you so much for being part of this family.
No, always. Glad to do it. All right.
Namaste.
Much love.
Yeah. Bye-bye. So that was Bonnie, and those were some really good thoughts. Go ahead, guys. We got an open line. Give a call in. And we will take the next caller as soon as the line comes in. Hello, you're on the air.
Michael.
Yes.
Sorry, I've got to pause my computer. How are you doing?
Doing great. And who do we have with us today?
Well, my name is Scott. I'm up in the north of you guys up in Canada, so I'm not quite in the same position as you guys, but I've been listening to your stories for a little while now.
Okay.
I don't mean to use the word stories, but I just wanted to kind of talk about a few things and share a few things. And I had some ideas. I don't know whether or not you would think this is something you might want to share with your people, but I guess this is a live event. You might not have much choice now. I know you reach out to a lot of people right now that are in a scared time. There's a lot going on, and some people are starting to awaken and they're starting to realize things. But they also feel like there's a lack of an element of control that maybe they're not used to not being controlled by. One of my suggestions I was hoping that I could suggest with people that are in these situations right now is to maybe implement some sort of a program that helps us take away some of the control from, I'm not going to mention names and we talk about these things, but the people that give us control. And I know right now there's a lot of people that are in need of things, and there's a lot of people with access of things. And I was thinking, I don't have a lot of need up here because it's very safe where I am at the moment. But I was thinking of implementing like a share and share alike program, something where people can just look at the things that they have and the things that they're maybe going to need over the next little while, especially in light of what we all know is coming, and we all know, the math doesn't lie, the frequencies in the air are detectable, we all know what's going on. A lot of us are oblivious to it. Now, a lot of what I see in these conversations seem to me like people are still in some element of fear. And that's kind of what I hope one day to be able to talk a lot more about. From what I understand, and please don't take me as an expert in anything. I do not read. I don't go to church. I don't have any of these influences that I think most people are struggling with nowadays. But I am a computer developer. I've never taken computer courses. I'm a programmer. From what I'm starting to understand is there's a lot of analogies right now going around about this being a computer system. I also understand things like we have quantum computing technologies right now and all of this other stuff. And I honestly feel like if the cabal or any of these people we talk about could do what it is we're afraid they're going to do, they've done it already. They've tried, and they're not able to. You and I Mr. MMB33 or MBB333, these guys, we're still here. You know what I mean? That in itself, to me, tells us that they're doing something wrong. Now, I don't know. I've never seen you talk, and nothing personal against your channel. I'm not one that ever searches out information. I have a recommended list that I let life tell me where to focus my attention, if you know what I mean. You came to me through that. And because I can see in your eyes, I have a trust with you. Like, I know what you're speaking is true, and I just kind of want to help out as much as I can. But I've been working on a codec for 25 years of my life, trying to explain people how dimensions work. Things that I can't qualify myself because I don't have a schooling background. I mean, I went to school for electronics, but it definitely wasn't to learn about electronics, you know what I mean? I've been the guy that taught the Microsoft stuff. I was a BlackBerry Enterprise web developer at BlackBerry. All of this without training because I had something called common sense. Now, Cabal is trying to remove that from people. I don't even know if you guys still have pennies in the States, but there's a big meaning behind the lack of pennies that we have, the missing common sense, you know what I mean? But anyway, like I said, I want to get back. You have a lot of people that are in a more desperate position than I am right now. My position is that I want to help people, but I don't have much going on around me, so there's not people around me that are asking for help, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And I know you are. I know you have a lot of people out there, and you're doing amazing things with these people. But I would like to maybe be available or help if sometime we ever want to kind of change the narrative. I want to work on books that explain more about the hows and the whys of life. What I see when we talk out there, when I see a lot of people talking now, is we're explaining the whats, and we're helping people kind of grasp a little bit about what's going to happen. But there is a big picture how, and there's a big picture why. And these do come into, I think, the last person, then I apologize, I was a little sidetracked, but the last person I think you spoke to started to get into some of the interdimensional stuff.
Yeah.
All of that information is out there, you know what I mean? That's where I would hope at some point we can start to focus and say, okay, how do we really empower ourselves? Like, if we are interdimensional beings, what are I think I asked you this once when you were first testing this out, if you knew the colors of the dimensions. Like third dimension being RGB, but having a black-white balance or a white balance in the background, and CMYK for the fourth, and how to align those as we get through different things. And there's more than we can discuss in a quick phone call right now, especially with a lot of other people wanting to talk. But my biggest thing is being here, and I tried to call you today as well to talk about this before things happened, but I couldn't. For some reason, your number wasn't working at the time. Maybe that's just a Canadian thing. I'm not sure. But anyway, I think we're just starting to scratch the surface, and I think that as we start to look at all of the pieces as they come together, we're going to realize that each and every one of us do, in fact, create our own realities. Self-worth and power given or taken from people has a big factor in that. I think as long as all these people stay strong, work together, then I think you and these other people are going to do some amazing things. But there's a lot of mistruths out there. I just hope if there's anything that we can do to find some logic, some things. I mean, Tesla, Einstein, all of these guys were telling to us things, and it seems like the cabal or these other people have been able to kind of pick and choose what they want to deliver to us. The issue is we have smarter people in the world now. We have people that can work together and put it all together, and I think that's the time that's coming, that the code itself is going to be revealed soon, and all we can do is help bring everybody there, and we can't make people listen to us. I think it was a guy, I don't remember the guy's name, one of the other channels that came up to me today, where it was exactly that point. Like, we're not there to force other people to believe our beliefs, but there are people waking up and they're confused. And I'm just glad to see there's guys like you out there, and I want to give you a big kudos for being man enough and confident enough in yourself. Now, I have other questions for you I hope to ask one time, not now, because you have other people, like I said, but things about you seeing your frequencies. And I mean, that to me tells me you have a visual perspective, a visual kind of thing that intrigues me a little bit, but I'm curious about some of the audibles. I'm curious about some of the other aspects of things that you've experienced in your life. But again, I don't want to take away from the other people and the ones that are actually in need right now. So I'm hoping maybe one day in the future, you and I can have a different discussion and maybe talk about some things that we can decide together whether or not we want to talk with other people about, or maybe share, or maybe I'm just out in left field because us Canadians are crazy. I have no idea. But anyway, I don't want to keep this going. Like I said, there's a million things you said before in one of your last callers, you could go on forever with that gentleman. I could do the same with you. In fact, I've been waiting 25 years to tell people things that I've been trying to tell people for quite some time now. And I'm glad to see other people are now finally able to start talking about it. So keep up the good work. Other than that, I don't really have any questions, I don't think, other than just, actually, no, I don't. I'm glad you're doing what you're doing, and I hope everybody gets the peace and comfort and the power in themselves to be able to make the right decisions for themselves, from being able to see a good role model like yourself, and somebody that is true to who they are, who can show the world their eyes, knowing that it's an audit trail. And I think if you can't look God in the eyes and tell him exactly what you feel, then you've got problems.
Right.
Now, not everybody has to hide behind their sunglasses, but you're one of the few that don't even attempt to, and I appreciate that. Some of the ones that do don't have to, and I don't mean to. I don't mean to keep going, but guys like Mr. MB323 that wear the glasses, and I am, they don't have anything to hide. I'm not banking on them for hiding behind glasses, but we do know there's people that hide their eyes for a reason, and I'm just glad you're not one of them. So I appreciate that, and keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Scott. It's my pleasure. And yeah, we'll definitely talk, and I'm intrigued. I want to get into the interdimensional stuff a lot more, because I totally believe in it. I know it's real. I know it's a fact. I've had a lot of experiences that I know are interdimensional.
Between now and when we speak again, Michael, I want you to try to wrap your head around something. Imagine, if you will, the binary language of ones and zeros.
Mm-hmm.
Use that to create the English language. Think of the English language as our fifth dimensional codec. Now, the trick in the binary is that there is not two decimal or two, one and a zero in the binary. It's just the zero. But if you turn it 90 degrees, you get the one. Now, mapping that X, Y, Z, the switch from the X, Y from the X to the T when you get to the time dimension, all of those motions give you energy movements. We call them emotions. Those are how we get our keys to each dimension. And if we don't have the right keys, we bounce within the dimensions. That's part of what, I don't know if you ever talked about Mandela effect or why that's the case, and that's something maybe hopefully you and I can talk more about one day. But that not being able to bounce through is like the difference between a filter and a mirror. If you think now, I heard somebody the other day about they now have one-way bulletproof glass. It's kind of that mentality. If you're resonating at the right, you can bounce. Instead of going into a dimension, you can bounce off and go the other way. And if you're not correct, you're going to either get trapped in or go through, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of simple math, but it's basic. The old scriptures are starting to show that the 60-base system, the knuckles on the fingers, all of these numbers mean something. People are trying to change it. I mean, I live up where we're kilometers and all of this. That's the line. The miles and all the other stuff, those are the number systems that work, and hopefully we get a chance one day to discuss more of that type of stuff. And I think we'll see that the plan is really, really much simpler than others are allowing us to believe it is at the moment.
Right. Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, this is great stuff, and yeah, I think it would be great for us to maybe have a whole show together sometime, because it's definitely intriguing stuff to me for sure. Well,
it would. Now, I have to say one thing with you, though. I have never spoken about this to anybody. I don't preach. I don't have channels. I don't do any of this. So I don't know if I'm out in left field on some of the things, but I would like the opportunity to discuss a little more. Like I said, I started writing 5 books when I was like 25 years ago. I don't know why it's 5, because I am OCD with the number 4, just like Tesla was with 3.
Yeah.
I'm number 4. That number 4 has been OCD with me my whole life, but I've known there was 5 stories I've had to tell, and I now know now's the time I have to tell it. But I've been looking for people to help me. And as I mentioned to you in a message earlier today, which I don't know if you got or not, because you don't wear glasses, you spread the right message, I wanted to see whether or not I was going to be able to call you today. I tried 4 times, and it was like the number was disconnected, and then all of a sudden I get a message on my thing with you saying there's a thing tonight you want people to call in. Those to me aren't coincidences.
Right.
They
No.
say everything happens for a reason, but on the reverse of that, there's also a reason for everything that happened. And that sounds like the same thing, but it's actually not. You know what I mean? There's more to it. And I always look for the signs of what I need in life, not what I want. And I felt like this was a need for me to be able to talk to you and hopefully lead into something more for both of us down the road, and maybe enable both of us to help more people and enable more people to help other people as well.
And that's what it's all about. So, yeah, thank you so much for calling in, Scott. And we will definitely keep in touch and talk again.
It sounds good. I hope you and all your listeners have a wonderful evening, and hope everything goes well for everybody in the next little while. It's going to be some interesting times.
It sure is. Namaste, my friend.
See you as well. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Some very, very interesting thoughts there. So we have an open line, guys, and we have the UK calling in. Let's see. Hello, and thank you for calling.
Hey, Michael.
Yes, and who do we have here?
It's Danny. I'm over in the UK. A subscriber, me and my brother. I'm not going to go on too long. Loads of questions for more around the campfire would be a nice place for it, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Just wanted to send our love over to you guys over there, and thank you. A lovely family, and things are moving on here. This side for us spiritually, we're connecting together more, and notice it all moving on. Everything seems to be correlating in mine and my brother's lives. And we've been far apart for many years, but for some reason over the past 2 years we've come closer and closer together, and we can see what's coming, and just want to tell people, and you know, we want to try and help people, but the problem we have is you don't want to scare people.
Right.
And you just, that's the issue I've got really, is people kind of turn away, because it scares them, the thought of it, and they're just happy with their lives as it is. But it's all going to change, and the shock will hurt those people more, if they're not prepared spiritually and, you know, physically prepared. And me, really, I think physically I'm here, I'm healthy, I'm fit. Spiritually, I'm well on my way. Mentally, it's difficult and hard to handle, but we're getting there. But again, just want to send my love over.
Well, thank you so much for that, Johnny. That was a great call, and it's so good to have you in with the family here. And you could definitely feel your love and your energy. So you're so welcome, and we're so glad to have you.
Namaste from Sammy as well.
Namaste, my brother. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. So that was Johnny from the UK, and we have an open line for the next caller. And one of the topics that came up was the Mandela effect, and I have noticed crazy Mandela effect going on with the dates, and everybody's seeming to notice this. You know, one of the things that popped up was a date on the earthquake being tomorrow, and that was weird. And I understand that, you know, times are different in different time zones, but it wasn't that time yet. And then there was another video channel I was looking at today, and they were noticing the same thing. It was like they were already having something from the 13th, an event happening on the 13th, which was, you know, it's the 11th. And then there was another one that the event was on 2019, a whole year away. Hello, and thank you for calling in.
Hi. Am I on your show right now?
You are live, and this is Michael, and who am I speaking with?
Oh, hi, this is Forrester. I'm calling from California. I'm a fan of your YouTube channel.
Hey,
really
Forrester.
Interesting topics. Yeah, like all the earth changes. So, do you think that people could affect these upcoming changes and then somehow like evolve through it, or do you think like stuff is just going to happen and we just got to prepare for it?
Yeah, that's a great question, and we've kind of talked about that. I think we could definitely affect outcome for sure. There might be some things that just have to happen, you know, as far as perhaps, you know, some of the earth changes, the earth needs to actually cleanse itself in certain ways. But we could definitely affect the outcome as far as, getting people out of the way and to safety, or maybe mitigating the situation a little so that it's not so intense. Just think about, what would have happened, say, in Guatemala if it just let off a smaller eruption first before the big one. Maybe people would have gotten out of the way. I know there were some people that were just thinking it never blows past a certain point, so they were just standing there taking their photos and their selfies thinking it's another typical eruption, and then they just couldn't get out of the way. But I do think that we can affect the outcome definitely to a degree. I think, though, some things kind of have to happen, like these earth changes, but maybe we're already affecting them, because like the first caller that called in, he was sharing with me before we went live that he thought these changes were going to happen about 15 years ago, and I told him, I thought the exact same thing. It's like 15, 20 years late. So maybe we have already affected it to some degree.
Wow.
What's your thoughts, Forrest?
Yeah, I think we can get like divine guidance about like avoiding certain places, being at the right place, right time, and then I think like if there is a mass consciousness, like focus in on certain areas, people can do better. And I guess I believe in that thought. Telekinesis, not one of those like spiritual powers, those like cosmic mind skills. I forget which one it is, but I believe in that.
Yeah, definitely.
And the power of intention and mass positive thinking. And also, what do you think it's going to take for all these like player haters and the Illuminati and the New World Order to start getting on this wavelength of like thinking positive and wanting things great again and just wanting a better life? Like, what do you think it's going to take for there to be like peace, within this country, so there's not like a civil war?
Yeah, that's a really great thought, because this is stuff that everybody has to go through, even the elites. And I'm sure there are some among the elites that have a little bit more of a heart than other ones. Even like when we're talking about different races and whether you believe in them or not, like beings like the Draco, there are supposedly some among the Draco that are not as what we would consider negative, that actually don't view humans as just a subservient race to be used and abused. So a lot of this it's going to affect them as well as us. So maybe some of them are going to swing more towards the good side. It's very possible. Just because you're born into a family or a bloodline, we saw it. Well, take a look at Buddha. Buddha was born a very, very rich prince, and he enjoyed that lifestyle until he went and looked and realized people suffered, and he didn't know about the suffering and the poverty, and then he couldn't turn back. So maybe there's some among the elite that have a bigger heart than others, and maybe it would just take a little bit to sway them, to the good side. It's very possible.
Wow. Yeah, hopefully that'd be swell.
Yeah, definitely. We
it's like more and more of them decided to be on the good side.
Yeah, because the alternative is, there's many different ways these things could turn out, and one of the alternatives that I was talking about to another friend the other night was, sometimes I think we're going to have a big French Revolution, which was not a real nice situation, because they basically, everybody that was in power, they guillotined them, the peasants rose up and it was a bloodbath. So, I'm sure that many of them in the Illuminati and, the cabal, they fear that type of uprising. And I think that's part of why they are building all these, robotic machines, these really scary Terminator-like robots that would be just devastating to face in any sort of battle. So partly probably
Yeah.
they're doing that because they're so outnumbered. And one of the things that one of the other callers was alluding to, it's like when your pineal gland gets decalcified, and when you could actually see energy, you'll know when people are lying just by looking at them, because you'll see the energy around them change color, and they're not going to be able to hide it because we're all going to get more psychic. We're all going to have more of these intuitive abilities, and we are right now. If you compare somebody now to somebody 3 years ago, everybody is going up in vibration at different rates, but everybody's abilities are increasing, and the CIA actually did studies on that showed that's exactly the case.
Wow. I see it in popular culture and with people around me, and the God Almighty put certain people in my life, and there's been certain people that aren't in my life anymore, and I think that some of the bad stuff that may have happened, actually may have saved my life in some weird reason. So I guess I got to be more thankful because, yeah, me and others have to we've gone through some hard times in California, over the years.
Yeah, that's the hardest times are usually the best learning opportunities, and we have to kind of look at it like that. Obviously they're not enjoyable to go through, but at the same time, a lot of times those are the things that will provide us with the most impetus for growth, and we'll end up, being wiser and better people after.
That's a good reminder.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Well, definitely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Thank you. Keep up the great work. I really enjoy your channel. It really kicks ass, man.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, thank you for being part of the family.
Thanks.
Namaste, my friend. Hello, you are on the air.
Hello, Michael.
Yes. How you doing, Robert?
Hey, this is Robert again. Oh, I'm sorry, I got the other. I just wanted to give a quick heads up, man. Talk about. I am getting blocked from making a super chat donation on your account now, on your super chats from Google. It's giving me they want documents to reopen my account. They want a photo ID of my license and all this other stuff. That is a first. That has never happened before.
Well, nothing would surprise me with the powers that be.
But I just want to warn everyone: don't do it. Don't give them any photos or anything that they probably already got your information. But it's just something, a heads up.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Robert. It's nothing at all surprised me from the powers that be, because they definitely try to keep the word from getting out. That's for sure.
Yeah. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up. I'll catch you on the backside on that.
All right, my brother. Well, take care.
Okay. Peace.
Peace. Namaste, my friend. All right, so we have an open line there, and who do we have here? This looks like San Diego. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, it's Laura calling from California.
Hi, Laura. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you, too. Thanks for all you do. I love your videos.
Oh, thank you so much.
Okay, so this might sound a little crazy, but I'm looking to relocate and have done, a fair amount of research on the Ozarks. And my concern is, and it's, I guess, really, really kind of way out there, but my concern is based on Ozark, Missouri, and that underground city. Are you familiar with that?
No, not really. Is it one of those military underground bases? Because I've heard of a lot of those there.
Well, it doesn't seem to be military, but it's definitely, the government. There's a video I watched, Jesse Ventura. I guess he had a show or something like that, Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura.
Mm-hmm.
And they went and they actually snuck in and drove around in it, and spoke to people in the area, and also they covered a lot about like the caves and the tunnel system all around there, and touched on like just some weird things. I mean, not that that's not weird enough, but like Mountain View. I don't know if it's Mountain View, Arizona, Mountain View, Missouri. They have like some insane amount of numbers of people per bank. It's like one bank for every like 300 people, and it's just really, really crazy. And they talk about underground tunnels connecting them and stuff like that. And I don't know. I just kind of like wonder, like maybe maybe they're kind of trying to draw people there. So like in the after time, they have good pickings, and it just does sound really crazy.
No. Gosh, what was the name of that episode?
I have it right here.
On The Walking Dead was like that, where they're trying to get people to go to this one location, then when they get there, they instead of being rescued, they all end up being food.
Yeah. And it's like, I guess what made me start thinking that was that, and I'm so bad with names, but that video from a long time ago, the Navy video, the Navy map of, what they think, what the Navy put out to their own people about what they see, the United States looking like in the future.
Right.
When the Missouri is, widened and all of that. Are you familiar with that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I assumed you were. But like just letting that slip, it's kind of just a little bit too convenient, and that gets a lot of people going there and saying, oh, all the people in the military are going there, and I don't know, it just seemed like just too convenient, like they were trying to get us to go there. But anyway, the episode, you can look it up on YouTube. It's Conspiracy Theory with Jesse Ventura, Season 3, Episode 4, Ozarks.
Okay. Yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's the one about the bank, but you can Google, like, banks per capita. Yeah, here it is. Mountain Home, Arkansas, with a population of 12,000, has one bank for every 338 people. And that's like maybe like 5 times that's the amount for like the average city, and it's just weird. I don't know. I wanted to get your thoughts on that because I'm kind of going crazy trying to figure out the best place to go.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking at the comments as we talk, and Sassy Susie says discernment is our best tool right now, and I have to agree. If something gives you that feeling like it's kind of creepy and there might be something wrong, then it probably is. There probably is something there.
Trust that.
Yeah, that's one of the things we have to build and work on more and more and more. And it's basically just another sense that is developing. As we're hit with all these energies, many people think that our DNA is actually reattaching, that we were 12-strand at one time. And, doctors have found people with 3-strand DNA and now supposedly 4. So, our intuitive abilities are increasing, and we need to exercise them and, listen to that inner voice. Because something, too, I mean, I understand the Ozarks, being a good spot, and that's like the third of the 3 safe zones for most people. But for some reason, I don't know, I've always felt more cautious of there, and maybe it's the military component, or because I know there's a lot of military people that is the area where they're going. So then think about, in case things really do get basically shit hits the fan and there's no grid and there's roving bunches of people. The ones that have all the guns and the military training are going to be pretty dangerous to be around. They might be positive ones, but then there's can also be that negative element as well.
Right, and just the nefarious and disgusting and horrific things that we know that a lot of the elites are into, they're going to still want that stuff, in the after days. So, I don't want to be close to that, It's like I kind of rather deal with other things and stay away from, I like areas in Colorado. They say the same thing. There's, it's not the best place to go because of that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And when we got from Asia, channeling Archangel Michael, he said that there was going to be really pockets of people that survive and do well. And in effect, they'll be basically protected because of the energy they're giving off. So you're going to have like safer zones intermixed in more dangerous areas, but they're going to be basically safer zones because of the people's energy that's there. So that's one of the reasons why something that might seem counterintuitive, like say, I've always been drawn to Costa Rica just because Costa Rica has no military. There's an awful lot of spiritual people being drawn down there. Yeah, it's on the Ring of Fire, and yeah, there's volcanoes, and you're going to get big earthquakes there. But at the same time, it just feels like there's so many good people anchoring the light there that perhaps it would be a safe zone.
Well, I'll tell you what. I actually lived there for a year and a half back in the late 90s, and the people there, the good, the poor people.
Right.
The rich people, totally turn me off because there are a lot of rich people there. But, the poor, the everyday person, oh, my God, the best people, just so welcoming and so accepting. And even, being a gringa down there, I think it's because I was poor, too. But, so I don't know, me and my family and I have been thinking about that, too, because my daughter has Costa Rican citizenship, because she was born there, going down there and buying some land. But I agree with you. I feel drawn to there too, but I didn't know if it was just because I've been there before.
No, I think it's the energy of the place and the people. So you're going to see that. Just like, another friend of mine just recently came to Sarasota to live from Arizona. And just when you're in Sarasota, when you're over by Siesta Key, you could feel the energy there, and it does feel kind of protected. It's a vortex area, kind of like Sedona, and Sedona is the same thing. It feels like it's a protected area because of the energy there and the spiritual people. So you'll have pockets like that, probably in many different locations.
Well, that's something to consider that I hadn't before, so I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. My pleasure. So thank you so much for sharing. And
sure. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thanks for being part of the family.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Take care.
Take care.
So that was an interesting call. Interesting
Hello.
call. Hi, you're on the air. This is Mike with Evolutionary Energy Arts.
Hey man, I just stumbled on your channel. I don't know how I missed it all this time. It's pretty amazing. I've been looking forward to finding people that I can talk to about all this stuff, but I feel totally subpar to all these other people you've had on, so just incredible.
Well, don't feel subpar. We all basically add what we can and what we do, and we learn from each other.
Right on, man. Right on. It's crazy because I just pulled in. I'm a truck driver. I pulled in, and this guy helped me back up, and I just started talking to him about all this stuff that you're talking about, and the stuff that I've been thinking about. It's like I'm getting this big old, just constant download of all this information, trying to make sense of it all. But everything's really just making so much sense. I can't even tell you how much sense it's making. It's incredible. I'm having one of those, I've had it before in the past, but I haven't been able to maintain it. And it's almost, I almost feel like I need to learn how to control it because I have a hard time talking to normal people. Not normal people, but you know what I mean. And I just
kind of go off, and then they're like, too much information, you know. So I usually just keep it all inside. So.
No,
Anyway,
it's definitely good to be able to share and talk to like-minded people, and yeah, you'll find that the people here most of them are extremely knowledgeable and very willing to share whatever they could share and help each other. It's a beautiful family developing.
Yeah, it seems that way. When I just started, I heard the first caller. I came on in the middle of the show, and he started talking about what he sees, and you know, I've been seeing crazy stuff too, and I you know, I know that it's real, but it's hard to put in order because it's not really like chronological, you know. But like, I don't remember his name. The guy that was in the military, he was talking about what he sees, and you know, I could sit and tell you some of the things that I see, and I don't know if that's what the show is about or not, but I just am loving what everybody else is saying, so it's.
Well, yeah.
I just thought, I'd like to call in and talk to you.
Well, being a truck driver, and if you're over the road and going through a lot of different areas, you probably see a lot of stuff.
Man, last October, I was really pouring into Daniel and just trying to understand what some of that stuff meant, and he began to show me things, and I was totally confused, but I began to see what was going on in the skies, and I started taking pictures. I started showing them to people and things. Now they're starting to make more sense. I can't say that I fully understand it, but the things that I see in the sky, I haven't been able to. Even images that I've taken that look completely like, you can't miss it, guys. It's right there. Don't you see it? And they're just looking at me like, I don't see anything, you know. But it's a lot like those Nuremberg woodcuts, you know, that kind of stuff up there.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's a Tom Waits song. He talks about when Jesus comes again, and he talks about how there'll be leaves and, you know, covering the moon with a blanket. But I see all these leaves, and now I understand what they're ships. Obviously, I don't know if it's obvious to anybody else, but maybe some of the people on your show know what's going on in the sky.
I think.
Seems like. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think, you know, I think a lot of people are higher attuned than others, so they could see it clearer and easier, because it's all about that dimensional shift that we were talking about with the, I don't know if it was maybe the fifth or sixth caller, talking about everything is really, it's all about dimensions, you know, all about frequency and vibrations. And so, yeah, I do think that there's ships up there, and I think some of the sounds we're hearing with those mystery sounds probably are the ships or ship related. So I don't doubt that at all. You know, I've see those suspicious looking clouds that develop, you know, and sometimes you just feel that there's something there. You could just sense, you know.
Yeah. You know, I try to figure out who's who is what I want to know, because I'm getting messages, but you know, I don't want to. I have a fear growing up, religious, that I'm going to be deceived. You know, so I'm battling this idea. I know there's deceivers, and but at the same time, I feel like there's a war in heaven, and there's good guys and bad guys up there, and we're up there, like humans are up there too, and it's like you said with the dimensions. About a year ago, I took off my glasses, and I don't know if I should say that out loud, as I just said I was a truck driver, but you know, I don't really have that good a vision. I drive during the day, and I can see. I've improved my vision quite a bit just by practicing and focusing and things like that. But that was basically how I began to see. It's incredible that I took off my glasses and then I could see. But it really just happened one day. I just saw like a portal, and I thought they were doing something on the television to us, and I turned it off because it was a commercial, and I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. I can't believe, I never watch it, but I turned it on for one instant, saw that and turned it off. And then the next day I went and looked at the sky, and there I saw it again, and now I just pretty much, I mean, I have to kind of distract myself from it, because it sometimes over like gets me so, I'm looking at it trying to see what's up there all the time, that I always see something new, and I don't know if it's always the best thing to be focusing on, so anyways.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing to be focusing on. And if you have any photos, you could send them in to me. It's evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail. Definitely take a look at them, and share the ones that look really cool and obvious.
Yeah, I have so many photos. I'll just give you my YouTube channel. It's Nathan C. I only have like 10 videos or something. People can go look at it, and I'll send you the link too. I kind of put them together in a way that maybe somebody. I try to make it so that somebody can see what I'm seeing. But
okay.
Anyway, I'm not trying to promote my channel by any means. I really don't want to have that big of a follower. I see all you guys with 21,000 viewers or subscribers, and I don't want that, So I guess I'm not as assured, of myself. But anyway, I just thought I'd share.
Well, I appreciate that, and welcome to the family, and definitely, feel free to contribute, and come by as often as you could, and definitely send me whatever you want. Send me too as well, and then we could go through that and add it to the compilation as we go.
Right on. Sounds good. It's good talking to you, and we'll talk again.
Definitely. Take care, my friend.
All right, you too.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Hello, you're on the air.
Hi there, finally I got through.
You did, you made it.
Yeah. So, it's, I myself have been noticing quite a few things going on, and I'll tell you what, that since the total eclipse last year, I knew that a lot of things were going to happen. Right.
Yeah, I agree with you. It seemed like that was a key time.
Yeah. But what's really amazing is that my dad, God rest his soul, when I was younger, he would read the Bible to me, and he would talk about all these things that's going on is going to come to pass. And I know a lot of us, we don't really care much for the Bible and these type of things, but I feel like there's a powerful connection to what's going on today, and what he kind of he spoke to me about, right? And I also feel like it doesn't matter where we run, it doesn't matter where we go. We're all going to be judged at the end of the day. And I think we sometimes try to find comfort in fleeing or in believing different things, right? But a lot of the prophecies that was said to me when I was younger, I can see it clear as day happening. I'm an ex-airman from the United States Air Force, and I've seen some things, and I've noticed what's going on right now in Israel with Iran. Them preparing for war right now, and all the different hate that's going around, even in this country, the United States. And I feel like we're running away from our own demons. We haven't dealt with the stuff that we've done, the crimes that we've committed, the hate that we've committed against each other, right here in the United States. And it's funny how we treat each other with so much hate. We treat our neighbors with hate. we treat immigrants and everyone else with hate. But yet still we talk about going to all these countries as a place of refuge when we've treated everyone else that came here with hate. So I don't think there is anywhere that we can run to. I don't think there's anywhere that we can try to hide from what's coming. The energy that we all feel is gonna, it's quickening us, it's awakening us. And I think at the end of the day, we need to understand that unless we truly confess and understand that, you know, we're not a perfect nation, we're not a perfect people, then there's nowhere for us to run from this. There's nowhere for us to run from this. You know, this is it's going to get worse. And everyone's feeling it. It's just really going to get worse. Right? So I don't know. I don't know how you feel.
But I think for sure the United States has been used, you know, to be the world's policeman and military enforcer for these, you know, negative beings, the, you know, whatever we want to call them, you know, the cabal, the Illuminati, you know, the military-industrial complex that we have going, that whole bunch of really just this minority that's been controlling the world, and they do it through keeping us, you know, basically at each other's throats, you know, distrust, playing on fears. So we need to get past the fears. And I think, you know, I say the one thing that I don't agree with a lot is when people are talking about, you know, judgment and stuff, because I think when we start feeling like, you know, we are deserving of judgment, it's creating negative vibe and negative energies. What we need to do is just simply say, all right, I'm not going to be like this anymore. I'm not going to say, let jealousy get to me. I'm not going to, when somebody, you know, shoots negative energy, makes a comment at me, I'm not going to lash back. I'm just going to smile and let it go. Or say, you know, something like, well, I hope you have a nice day, you know. Just, you know, look at what Jesus did, you know, with that. You know, when one person, when somebody slaps you on one cheek, give them the other. And so it's all about, you know, don't feed the negative energy. Don't get down on yourself either. You know, don't feel like you deserve judgment. You deserve whatever it is, you know. Don't get down on yourself. But what you can do is totally change the way you look at things right here and right now, and just basically say, you know, I'm not going to do these things that make me feel like I deserve judgment, I deserve punishment. And so, you know, maybe that it means we just simply, if there is a war, you're a conscientious observer and you're thrown in jail. You know, maybe it's better to do that. It could mean a lot of different things. But, you know, it's a case where I think that those dark energies, those dark entities, they want us feeling guilty about stuff. They create these wars that are really unjust. They're really corporate wars. They're not wars really even about countries. They're all just basically about profits and just, you know, creating more business and, you know, taking one person's or one country's, you know, assets. And it's a different thing, you know, and we can't let them hook ourselves up into it. And, you know, don't feel that you should be judged or anybody should be judged. So let's just make the conscious thought that from this moment forward, we're not going to do any of those things that make us feel like judgment is necessary again.
Yeah, one of the things my dad used to say is that true characters are revealed in time of crisis. So it's one thing to remain calm in a calm situation, right? Where there are no bombs dropping around you, there aren't any weapons going off. You're not running for your life. And there's another thing to make calm and conscious decisions when those things are happening. Right?
For sure.
So, you know, I honestly wish that we, you know, everyone has a clear head if God forbid something like that happens. But, you know, look at the situation in Hawaii, where the one gentleman is shooting behind his neighbor, right? And I'm sure he was a sweet old guy prior to all this happening. You know, I'm sure he was probably sweet to his neighbor as well. But when these things go off, and you know, it's like we lose our humanity. As a matter of fact, we don't even need that to lose our humanity. We've lost our humanity from the time we started slavery.
Right.
Right. So, and these are the demons that we don't want to address. We don't address these things. We don't want to talk about these things. Right. So, it's not. I don't think it's a matter of judging yourself. I think it's a matter of facing the reality and of facing what's possible. Right. And I think what's possible is that true characters will be revealed in time of crisis. When all these things start happening, and it will happen.
Right.
How are we going to be? How are we going to truly react towards each other?
And
are we going to be like that sweet old guy in Hawaii? Are we going to band together as one group based on ethnicity? Are we going to say, I'm truly going to help and be, you know, a good Samaritan to everyone? What are we really going to do? Right? So I think to answer that, you got to look at how have you been, you know, in the past? How accepting have you been to others? Right? Not you personally, but I'm just saying generally as a question.
And I think that's a great one. That's a great point.
You know, so that kind of it'll give you an idea of how you're going to be if something really goes down. You know, can you be trusted to truly help stretch your hand out and offer someone some water or some food?
Right.
You know, these are some hard times. These are some difficult times ahead. And it's really going to get worse. I'll share with you a dream that I had coming back from Peru, April 13th. I had a red-eye flight around 1 o'clock that morning. And I boarded the plane. I fell asleep. And then I dreamt that I was in an open field. There was mountains all around. Animals, birds, everything. But I'm in like a valley and I'm looking at the mountains. And I hear like some type of ruckus going on in the sky. And I look up. And I also had my girlfriend with me. And there was another female that I don't know who it was. I can't remember the face or anything like that. So anyways, so I look up and I see these 4 angels. And they were suspended in the air, looking like they were trying to hold something back from entering our atmosphere. And I look up even further, and there was this great ball of fire, just the purest form of fire that you can ever see. And it looked like it was trying to enter our atmosphere. And there were angels, not the type of angels that you see in like Christianity or whatever, but just regular people flying in and out the fire. So then my girlfriend started screaming, and she you know, turned to me and she said, "You told us, you warned me about this, you told me that this was going to happen, and I didn't listen." And I looked at her in fear. And at the same time, I heard a loud thump, and the whole earth shook. And as I turned around, I see this calm-looking angel. She looks at me. It was a female. And she looked at my girlfriend and she said, "You guys are okay. You guys are fine." And as she said that, she ascended back up, and I looked around again and I saw all of the animals looking up at this beautiful, pure fire. And they were all singing in their voices. Right? And you know, so I woke up and I started recording the dream on the plane. And I actually have it on my phone, and the air hostess, she walked by and she said, "You can't FaceTime on the plane, I'm sorry." And I told her what it was. And she told me, "You have a lot of family praying for you." But I didn't think that's what it was at that point. And, you know, I got off the plane, I went to Delta Sky Club, and I sat there and I called my girlfriend and I told her about it. And then I got home that night. And she texted me. And what she texted me was, "The United States strike Iranian targets in Syria." And right then and there, my heart fell to the floor, because I knew that had to do with the dream. I knew what that meant. Right? And, you know, there's a difference between a fear that lives in civilians and a fear that lives in veterans, right? Because we understand what war is like, and we don't wish that on anyone, right?
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
So I pray that we let calmer heads prevail, and that we don't allow this type of hate to continue in the world. You know, there's too much hate, too much murder, too much killing going on, too much war going on around the world today. And that's why there's a cleansing going on.
Yeah, it all has to be, it's a change in consciousness that everybody has to go through, and we need to get this word out to as many people as possible and change the whole mindset, because that's what's going to save us from these negative outcomes, is enough people waking up and changing the mindset, and that's really what we need right now. And I thank you so much for sharing that with us. That was very, very interesting, and hell of a vision. Definitely.
All right, thank you.
All right, my friend. Namaste. Peace.
Peace.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hello, Michael.
Yes.
Hey there, this is Jackson from Jackson Facts channel here on YouTube. Thanks for the opportunity of doing this live feed with the call-in. It's great. I really love the channel you've developed and the information you spread. I really believe you're ushering in an era of higher consciousness for all of your viewers. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jackson. Thank you so much for joining us, too. I'm glad that you enjoy the channel, and it is a beautiful family that we have here.
I wanted to ask, with the messages you spread of compassion and creating awareness and, thinking on a level of higher consciousness that's more in sync with the design of the universe and our genetic shared moral blueprint. I was wondering, have you gone vegan? And if not, what do you think would be holding you back? Because it seems like that is going with a plant-based diet, since we are herbivores, so it creates the least death and destruction possible, since trillions of animals a year are being killed, and all that negative energy is being taken in our bodies. We're being watched by those in power to be conditioned to believe that's good for our bodies when somebody's killing us and the planet. So yeah, I was wondering what you think about that, and if you've considered going vegan.
Yeah, I mean, I have for long periods of time. I do enjoy cheese, but I've done it both ways. I feel that sometimes, like with me in particular, I've eaten meat and beef and literally had dreams that I know was what the cows were seeing when they were being slaughtered. And it's just I'm too sensitive to the energies. So I've had that happen like 3 different times, and it was vivid. I mean, literally crazy vivid, like watching them get slaughtered and kind of thinking their thoughts while it was happening. So, I feel that for sure, if you don't eat meat, you'll definitely speed yourself along the ascension process. I think there's time periods in the ascension process that, that people will feel tempted to eat meat, and they might need more protein or a different macronutrient. Everybody has to kind of listen to their own body and decide what they're doing. But I think for the overall, well-being of the planet and other beings, definitely going vegetarian or vegan is a good thing. And I think it's a stepping stone too, because I truly think that when we get to the higher levels, we could be like some of these yogis that just eat whenever they choose to, but don't even have to eat anymore. So I think it is a stepping stone as well, and I've experimented with that, and I have a couple of friends that do the same, and I've shared about my one friend who literally will eat just maybe a salad on, say, Wednesday and an apple on Saturday, and that's literally all he eats, and he's still 220 pounds. And he should not be 220 pounds for as little as he eats, but somehow his weight stays the same, and it's mind-boggling. And he's done 7 days in a row with no food and no water, which he should be dead, for no water for 7 days, but somehow he's fine. But one of the things that he does take are the cell salts. Are you familiar with cell salts?
No, I haven't heard that.
Yeah, they're really cheap. I mean, I literally have a bottle I bought like 6 months ago, and it's just about gone now. But really, even hydration, it's really much more about mineral content, and it's really, it's not so much calorie in and calorie out. It really isn't. And so I think veganism is a stepping stone to a better world, for sure.
That's great.
I think we will end up even going past that, and at some point in time. And with all the energy that's coming into us right now, if we focus on absorbing that energy in a positive manner and visualize it, nourishing you, it could go a long way. It really could. And just the same thing with the UVA, B, and C that we're seeing, come in so intensely. If we're viewing it as this is going to give me cancer, then it might. Especially if you, focus on the negative about it. But if you view it as something that's going to lead to your ascension or raising up your vibration or possibly even, recombining your DNA and turning online some of that, what we call junk DNA, which is really basically DNA that's probably been incapacitated by some higher beings. Then everything changes.
By the chemicals we're exposed to, and other beings as well.
Yep,
I think you're right.
Exactly. So yeah.
One thing I would add. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Okay, thanks, Michael. One thing I would add with the dairy, the dairy industry itself is actually much worse for our health and for the planet and for the animals. A lot of people aren't aware. I highly recommend checking out Cowspiracy on Netflix. It's available. It shows how the leading cause of climate change, species extinction, world hunger, and all major human health problems are caused by this animal agriculture industry and largely dairy, because a lot of our meat comes from those female cows who are just exhausted from being forcibly impregnated so that we could drink the milk of the offspring, the breast milk of the offspring, turn it into cheese and things. But yeah, not only that, but it's one of the most harmful things, hazardous to our biology, our human bodies. And I like what you were saying too about how that's one step. Veganism is one step in that migration towards a new level of higher consciousness between all of us, like at the Edgar Casey type of levels where we can tap into that universal database of celestial knowledge. Because I do believe we all have, in science starting to show we do have celestial bodies within our physical chemical bodies. And I think that you're right about one day not needing that biological dependency on a vegan diet, even just being herbivores. We won't even need that eventually. I think we'll be able to just live off the energy, natural energy of the universe. So that's really fascinating. I love what you're saying, Michael.
Oh, well, thank you, my friend. Yeah, and I've actually experimented with going more fruitarian, and that's something that I do from time to time. Just go purely fruitarian for a while, and I feel my cells tingle when I do that. I literally feel like my body just is like saying at the cellular level, "Oh, this is good," and
with higher frequencies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Finally, becoming uninhibited by what those in power have polluted our minds and bodies. But
definitely, yeah. So I mean, with me, I'm so like opened up, especially in the upper chakras, that sometimes I need to kind of ground, especially when before I had the channel, I was literally doing energy work on people for basically anywhere between 8 and 12 hours a day, 5 days a week minimum, sometimes 6. So I was basically in a meditative state so much of the time that I needed to ground. So I had to do something. So I relied on red wine at the end of the night.
When all else fails,
exactly. And it's like I'd have friends that would be smoking some things that are legal in Colorado, and it's like that's the last thing I want because I'm so opened up already. I need to come down to earth a little bit. So everybody's different, though. Everybody's chemistry and energetic bodies are different as well.
Yeah. So I think it'd be great for you and your viewers to take a look at Conspiracy on Netflix and Web to Health. It's so educational and a great fact-based, science-based way of ushering that era of higher consciousness within our entire species. Which, there's nothing we do more than eat food. So if you want to align your actions with your morality and genetic blueprint as an herbivore, I strongly suggest try going vegan, and with protein too. There's actually more protein in serving of beans than there is actual meat, and it doesn't come with all that cholesterol and nasty fats and stuff like that. But I really love what you're doing, Michael. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate the openness and oneness that you spread to your audience.
Oh, well, thank you for being a part of it too. And the other thing with the beans and the lentils is they store forever and they're so cheap.
Yes, absolutely. If they are cheap, a lot of people go, "Oh, vegan diet, you must be, spending so much money on fancy food, vegan cheeses and vegan meat." I say, you know what? And actually, a plant-based whole foods diet is the diet that is healthiest for the human body. Because you can still eat tons of junk food and be a vegan. And a lot of people don't know you can have all those cheeses and all those meats and stuff if you still want them. We're in a modern civilized society where luckily there's delicious alternatives for everything in the animal agriculture industry. Yogurt, you name it. Any of your favorite foods. I still eat the same thing, pizza, pasta, burgers, whatever it is, hot dogs. I still eat all the same stuff, just conversion. And I don't spend any more than I did before because, it's all made of plants and they're far cheaper to harvest than a life, this living sentient being that didn't ask to be harvested. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's fiscally optimal too, not just for your health and the planet, but to save money.
Very true. Very true. Well, thanks for the call. That was a really good one and a good informative one.
Right on. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it.
All right. Take care, my friend.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. So that was a good call, and we have an open line for anybody that wants to call in. See some interesting conversations going on out there as well. One of the things that I do all the time is a green drink. I don't know if any of you guys take in some greens. Definitely very nourishing. Thank you for calling in. You're on the air.
Hi, Michael.
Yes.
Hi. Good evening. This is Lisa Winter.
Hi. Well, nice to talk to you. How are you doing?
Good to talk to you. I play Tuesdays, but I can't talk too long.
Okay.
I just wanted to call and say thank you for what you're doing. And I just wanted to ask, it's not just the truth, it's just I feel like it's everything going on in the world. a lot of pain. And I was just wondering if other people are experiencing the same thing.
Experiencing more pain, physical
More
pain.
physical pain, just everywhere. And I'm just thinking it's possibly because of what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely part of the ascension thing, for sure. I mean, there's multiple things going on. For one, we're definitely getting hit with chemtrails. We're definitely getting hit with a lot more energy. But the other thing too is, we're detoxing, and this is all causing us to detox, at a very fast rate. So, as what the last caller was talking about. Switching our diets could help a lot. Body work could help a lot. Having energy work, things along those lines, and just getting in tune with ourselves, because there's so many reasons for the pain. And in Chinese medicine, there's something called Lao points, which are these channels of really their energy and their stuck emotions that get buried into our actual physical tissues. And so with Ascension right now and with everything that's going on energetically, we're purging and we're getting rid of these toxic points, these energetic sore spots in our body. And it'll manifest as many different things, including inflammation and, so many different conditions. And so for sure, I mean, there are so many people out there experiencing a lot more pain and discomfort.
Yeah. Well, I did some research last night when I couldn't, and I learned about grounding. So I laid in the grass for an hour today. They said that was going to help with the inflammation. Grounding.
Yeah, the grounding could definitely help, and then visualization. So people have inflammation. There's two colors I would visualize, and one is a nice sky blue, because that is a very cooling and soothing color. And so if you're in a ton of pain, I would start off with the sky blue color and just inhale it in, and then feel the energy coming in through the crown chakra and also through the foot chakras. And I do have some videos up on how exactly to do this and feel it, and just see your entire body encapsulated in this color. And then when the pain decreases, switch it to a very vibrant green, and that's going to actually help physically repair things. And it's just really, especially when you're barefoot with your feet on the ground, when you draw the green in, draw it in through the feet, through the foot chakras, through the bubbling wells. And again, visualize it going through every cell in the body. And there's techniques for that, and if you do check out some of my videos on the Qigong, it'll definitely run you through all these different techniques, and it can make a huge difference in the way you feel.
Great. I will start first thing tonight. And then just one more thing. I was thinking, maybe if we could do like a monthly prayer circle, like people in different cities, if that could be something that we could talk about in the future. In various cities throughout the United States, I think monthly, even if it's just, a few people getting together, I think that's what we need more of, is everyone just kind of getting together and doing prayer circles.
I agree totally. And I think we could have some of these live streams like that could be completely prayer related. So, when people could just put names up, and type in a name or type in a location, and we'll all be focusing and sending energy through to them. And
wonderful.
It's pretty interesting because I've seen, people on their comments, talking about having a headache and then started to, watch and listen, and it went away. And that's how powerful. Yeah, so that's how powerful this positive energy is.
It's beautiful.
It is.
So I thank you for creating this channel, and looking forward to being part of the family.
Well, it's wonderful that you're part of the family. I'm glad it's helping, and definitely always keep in touch and share. It's beautiful, the sharing that we see out there.
Yeah, I'm excited. So thank you so much again, Michael. It was good talking to you.
Oh, thank you, my sister. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Good night.
Good night. That was a lovely call as well. Hello, Mona. How are you, Mona? 777 Lisa. Space Cat. We have Kevin out there. We have Sassy Susie out there. Trevor. Love and light to you, Trevor, and some healing energy your way. And Gordon. And we have a open line for anybody who wants to give a call in. We do have many religions in our family, and that's fine, Michael Joshua Lewis. It's a beautiful thing. It's all about freedom. Freedom to express yourself in whatever way you want to express yourself. It's a beautiful thing. Acceptance and tolerance. And that's what everything has to be based on. Acceptance and tolerance. So if there's anybody else out there that wants to give a call in, we will keep going with this for about another 10-15 minutes if you want to get in another call or two. So some really, really good topics today. Some really, really good thoughts as well. I want to go back to that Mandela effect thing because it feels like that's increasing. And we have another caller. Hello, you're on the air.
Oh, you're kidding.
No, you did. You got through.
Oh, brother, so many blessings, man. Just want to shout out to you. Feeling good about what you're doing here. And it takes up my time where I'm all alone. And I'm sure other people in chat are all alone in front of their computer. I got a lot of love out to you guys. It's Gordon from Utah. A lot of blessings, you guys.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're online, and that's what it's all about, you know, whether we're all sitting here by ourselves or whether everybody else in the family's downstairs. It's just basically everybody getting together with positive vibes, positive thoughts, positive feelings, and making a bigger family.
I sure need it tonight. Thank you guys, all of you. Blessings.
Oh, blessings and namaste, brother.
Good night.
Good night. So let's send him love and light. It feels like he needs it. And that's Gordon in Utah. Definitely a beautiful family we have going on here. You guys are awesome. Look at you guys sharing with each other. Lots of great ideas. Of course Canadians are welcome here. Spencer of the North. Namaste. Very, very good stuff going on. Hello, and you are on the air.
Hi. I just wanted to call and just basically say, I love everybody.
Well, we love you too.
I just don't think there's enough, people out there really telling each other that they love them. People get way too caught up in everyday life and they forget to let everybody know just how they feel.
Oh, exactly. Or worse yet, we actually build shields and start to, withhold our feelings. It's a great thing to express it.
Yeah, whenever I was a kid, I used to be very open and positive about things, and I went through my own traumas in life, and I wound up building up those walls and those shields, and it was a hard time pulling them back down, but I got past it.
You did.
And I'm glad I did, because everything just feels so much better.
Well, that's good. What's your name, sister?
Veronica.
Well, I'm glad you're part of this family, Veronica, and thank you for sharing that. Was there anything else you wanted to share?
Not really. I just wanted to let everybody know that I love them.
Well, that's a beautiful thing, and we love you too.
Thank you.
Take care. Namaste.
Namaste.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hi there, Michael. Greetings from Connecticut.
Greetings from my home state. How is everything up there?
Everything seems to be just, getting built up here. Doing a lot of construction.
everybody seems like they're just going along with the whole story.
Yeah.
How's things going on in Florida, right?
Yep. In Florida, same thing. Lots of people coming in, a lot of building up, and nice warm weather. We're back to a normal cycle. We had seemed like a month of nothing but rain, but now it's pretty typical as it should be, and it's pretty much 87 to 90 every day and sunny and beautiful beach weather.
Yeah. I mean, I'm seeing so much going on nowadays. It's amazing. I can't even keep up with it.
Oh,
I wanted to call in and specifically, talk about what's going on with more of the elite and the cabal. I feel like they're under pressure. Like things are not quite as sealed tight for them.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seems like they're kind of like trying to figure things out too. When for so long they've had everything planned out for, I don't know, maybe even 10 years ahead of them even, executing on whatever they needed. So, I mean, I feel that energy. I just feel like we're all seeing something develop before us. That's never happened before.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people have felt that same sort of feeling, and I found it so interesting, like around the time of the election, just the shifts in energy. It felt like there was this tug of war going on, and you could tell, there's definitely things going on. As many have said, there's wars above and wars below, and there's so many wars going on beneath the surface that we just we don't see, but we could feel if we're really tuning into it. So
I know, I feel like that too. I feel like we're almost all going to be like transformed in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Mentally, somewhere subconsciously and consciously.
Yeah, well, that when you said it that way too, that comes straight out of the Bible. Thinking of, exactly. Lo, I will tell you a secret. We shall not all die, but we will all be changed. So,
yeah.
It's in other traditions too. Is the fascinating part of it when we start looking to it. Like I had shared on a different video about the Australian Aboriginals, and they say that we are returning to the dream time when reality is more like a dream. The waking time is more like an actual dream, which again you could take as being a shifting of the dimensions, going on.
Now, when you go into that, I want the viewers to really pay attention to what you said there, because I really feel that our imagination plays a very powerful role in all of this. And now we need to get back to being almost like our child selves and feel comfortable with a blank canvas and a paintbrush.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because I feel that, that's where we're like at our most calm, the peace that we feel when we're just in our creative state. There's so much serenity like around that I remember you had a viewer talking about fear. And I feel like, when you're in your creative mode, you're really not fearing anything.
You're right. Yeah, exactly. It's there again, that's what it means to truly be born again and start to look at things through a child's eyes again. And, I was looking at kids at the beach yesterday and just seeing the way they play. Their whole world is just in that moment. They are so in that moment, and they're so happy because they're in the moment. They're not worried about this, they're not worried about that. They're just...
I feel like when we get older, we become our own bullies. So much of that negative energy that was over the years gets transferred, and we just continue it. We need to start healing that.
Exactly. We do. Yeah, it's part of the whole shift that we're in, for sure. Definitely part of the whole thing. And ultimately, the dark ones, the ones that have been controlling us, they're going to lose. And, we're going to move up into a new reality, and it's going to be the return of a golden age. And so things will be very different, and the world will be different, relationships will be different, and we'll be more, focused on love, light, peace, brotherhood, sisterhood, all these things that really we've been kind of manipulated out of. But when their influence is not there anymore, we're all going to gravitate upwards.
A sense of fear, and chaos, and confusion. I really do think, their number's up.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's definitely these are transitory times. We're changing. Everything is changing, and as was said, birth pains. It's the beginning of a new era, and so the Earth.
Did you ever see that video with Mr. MPP3 where he was talking about the planets all being on one side?
Yeah.
That was very interesting to me, and I feel that human energy has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I was discussing that with a friend. We're actually just getting into astrology and what astrology really is, and why planets are so important, and astrological signs. And it kind of comes back to this being kind of a computer program in ways, a matrix that we're in. And we tend to jump in when everything is going to bring certain aspects to ourselves and our lives that are exactly the things we need to work on and give us just the right challenges. And I do think that's when the soul decides to come in. Because, I think I view things different than perhaps many people. I think we choose our parents, we choose the situation we're coming into. I don't think we're coming in, like we have no choice and our parents created us and just pulled us into here. I think we
just got to grab hold of our power again.
Yes, yeah, that's what it's all about. It's all about that, and it's been hidden from us.
Just like on the Bible it said, that there were so many injustices, but that there'll be a point where God will give us power. And I really think that's going to come true, and I think it's coming true now.
Yeah, for sure. I think this is the time. This is it. We're seeing.
Before the earthquake and the eruptions of Hawaii, I heard that they were having some success with, running a couple of lawsuits in court with affidavits fighting for the smart meters to get shut off there. I was hearing that they were getting some good, successful results.
Yeah,
I think maybe the power in the affidavit is being missed. Because, it's your truth. As long as you got facts on there, you probably have a lot more power than you probably could expect.
For sure. And then we look at the little synchronicities that are in there, like that power plant, actually being owned by the Rothschilds, of course. And then there's supposedly fracking going on there now. Some people said you can't frack in Hawaii. It just geologically isn't possible, but still that there's what they were doing there is there, and it seems like it's a setup to be a blow up, and to cause another disaster. So, we see how they manipulate and maneuver things, but you're right. I think their power is waning and their time is coming to an end.
Power to the people.
Exactly. Yep, and we're taking it back.
Well, I've had a great time talking to you. I don't want to hold you up. I know there's other people wanting to call.
Well,
and it was a pleasure to talk to you.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
My name's Rollo. I don't know if I said so in the beginning.
Well, nice to meet you, Rollo. It's great to have you as part of this family, my brother.
All right, namaste.
Namaste. Take care.
Take care. God bless.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, how you doing? It's KJ from New York.
Hey, KJ, good to have you. How you doing?
I'm great, man. Just was listening to your show, and definitely have been enjoying your channel. And I don't know how long you've been doing. Have you been doing the call-in show long?
No, this is really the first one.
Oh, awesome!
Yep, the first call-in. I had one other brief live show, and I do a radio show now every Tuesday from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time till midnight, and that's on Freedom Slips Revolutionary Radio. So I'll be on that tomorrow night. For everybody out there that wants to call in, it's another opportunity to call in.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Just wanted to talk about, what you were kind of just brushing on with the last caller. Myself, I look at it all from a frequency perspective, and the way the whole world operates is frequencies, and there's different levels of people's understanding of it and how the frequencies actually affect them, and how people essentially, we can all be living on the same planet, but we're all experiencing, well, I should say we're not all experiencing it in the same frequency. So in a way, it's almost in a completely different existence on the planet, even though you could be on the same street as somebody in a totally different frequency. And I think that tapping into that, and as you were saying, we are definitely in a period of change, and what's going on, as above, so below. There is so much going on that most people are just completely unaware of astrologically and in space, that are very significant, especially to the times we're living in right now. And this all correlates, and what's going on here on the Earth, of course, obviously has its effect. And more now so than ever, it seems like people are either completely, it's like, a battery in a sense. People are either completely on one side, or either on the north side of an issue, or the south side, and they're the repel. God forbid you put anything that is, the same together, or against each other. So we're living in this time that a lot of people are just completely unaware of. We are going through a massive, massive change that I feel will be ecliptic, in the sense that I would hope for most people it can be a really positive and a good thing. Unfortunately, I have a feeling you have to go through some really rough times to get to that next space and that next level, which I personally believe is going to be such a better existence for humanity. Unfortunately, you were saying, we talked about Hawaii. I mean, to me, Hawaii, what's going on in Hawaii is just it's like the pinprick, okay, essentially, of what is to ramp up and what is to occur over the next 3 to 5 years, especially with the effects of the global the grand solar minimum. That's all part of it. And then I just feel that obviously other things that are happening, throughout, the world, whether it's, these bizarre weather events that are occurring, this is all interconnected, but it's a much bigger picture than especially what the media portrays or tells people about, or what most people are even capable of comprehending. Just because I think to a lot of people, this goes back to my theory on how people are existing in certain frequencies, and that only either able or capable of completely understanding so much, and how they just get through life on a day-to-day basis. And like I say, very few people I think have it's like an open tuning. It's like we have this ability to see a grander picture and a scope of what's going on, and at least that's how I feel from my perspective. What's kind of your take on that?
No, I agree with what you've been saying. I think you're right on. It's it's just a matter of more and more people waking up, and some people, I think the people that are maybe lagging behind, and waking up to the reality of being a multidimensional being, and getting used to shifting between gears. And I see some of my more advanced friends, that I look up to, and they do it so well, and then I see some of my family members that are what we would call total earthers, meaning they're completely just simply they maybe still watch the mainstream news. They don't have a clue. They're totally in the matrix, and so for them, it's getting to be very uncomfortable and very, very painful right now. Like there's really, they're disconcerted. They're trying to figure out what's going on. They don't have a clue, but they know something's off. Whereas, like many of us were at that phase 20 years ago, and so kind of have worked through it and have purged those energies and kind of have a feel for what's going on now. And it's actually starting to get easier in some ways because we could just almost know what's coming before it happens, and we could just sense things so much clearer now.
Right. And it's funny, I believe that too. That's why I say that unfortunately it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. The powers that be that have kind of run the show for at least the past, let's just say 500 years, because that's a nice little time frame that we can kind of break things down to, especially when we talk about the main money people who have basically set up this system, even 300 years ago. It was kind of sewn up then, and it's just been the same system day in, day out now for a couple hundred years, and for so many people, it's just, they just get accustomed to it, and they accept things for what they are. They never even questioned how things were put in place, which blows my mind, because I don't know, I was always that kid, my first question was always, but why is it this way? Like I was never that kid in school, and I'm 52 years old, so I feel I'm kind of blessed with. I grew up in a certain time that socially there was so much change trying to happen, and the whole 60s and 70s, and I was kind of a punk rock guy in the 80s. I was very anti-establishment then, and always questioning authority and questioning how governments work. When I think the average person, they could care less. All they cared about was what's the latest fashion, and can I afford a new exam, and can I? So in a way, I feel bad, because actually now I find people that are trying to quote unquote get woke, which is such a terrible term, but I know it's a term that's used by people that all of a sudden they're just kind of waking up to this sense of, maybe everything is BS, and like basically we've been sold out and shortchanged, because really that's what the system is about. The system is the ultimate form of slavery, and people just have willingly accepted this entire whether it's financial system or religious system, and all of these were put in place by people generations ago, and how people have just blindly followed and expected for some reason that the same exact outcome was going to happen in their life because it happened to their grandparents and their parents. And I mean, if you just look at 3 generations in this country, like from, say, my grandparents who were the World War II generation, and to my parents who were the baby boomers, to me, it's like a completely different existence of people. And it's just been 3 generations of the comprehension of really what the world is about and what it means to be a person, and to not follow all these traditions that people hopelessly fall into, and then they wonder why, when it just doesn't work out, then they're even worse off than they were to begin with.
Right.
So, I think it's hard. It's going to be really hard for a lot of people. Unfortunately, we're just going to lose a lot of people, because I personally think, and just give a little background, my great-great-grand uncle is John Dalton, aka the Dalton Minimum.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. Okay, just to give you a little personal background. And so I definitely have a interest and family knowledge and background of grand solar minimums and how these things affect what's going on, in our planet, and not even just our weather, but there's more to it. There's the planetary connection, there's the spiritual connection.
we are, transitioning, as far as Aquarius and the Piscean age. So, I mean, there's so much that's going on that people are just completely unaware of. I mean, they barely know what's going on if you watch a half hour of news. And what they feed you in the mainstream news, again, is just part of that whole system that's been, it's about 300 years old. It started out in telegraphs and newspapers, and now, it's a radio, now it's TV, but it's just the same old system that has just been churned out, and people, for the most part, have blindly followed. But it seems like now, I think it's going to take some type of cataclysmic event, and that's what I'm thinking. Weather event-wise is really what it's going to be. And if you look at the history of any, grand solar minimum, and any time, whenever there was a huge change in temperature, it correlates with a huge drop-off in civilizations and empires. And, as much as I love America, I love my country, I love this existence, it seems to me personally that we have literally caught the sweet spot in the honeymoon, whatever you want to call it, as far as global warming and then technology and all these things. But now it's got so out of control, and there's such negativity stuff going on that it's almost as if this is like a sign that, okay, it's only going to go this crazy this far, and then there has to be some type of reset. And I feel that, people more than ever, I know there's a lot of people that, we got to shelters and bug out and this, that, and the other thing. Personally, I'm of the school that wherever you are is where you're going to have to be, and you're going to have to prepare yourself with another existence. Something as simple as if there's no electricity, your world is going to change about 500%. So, if you don't even have the basic skills to even think about how you would exist in a world just without electricity, you're going to be in pretty deep trouble. So, I just am one of those people who highly recommend to people learn how to farm, learn how to plant food, learn basic stuff that you could eat, live off of, et cetera, because we're living in a world now where everything is completely based on electricity. Everything. So if everything's based on electricity and that one thing goes, where does that leave us? It really is going to put us, back into the Stone Ages, essentially. Actually worse, because at least people in the Stone Ages knew how to kind of forage and get together in groups and hunt and,
Right.
I mean, most people nowadays in New York City don't even know who their next door neighbor is that they've lived next to for 10 years and built, So,
Very true.
again, wherever it's just one of those things where I just feel like we're definitely headed towards something. What it is, I don't know. Personally, I kind of look forward to it because, this world that we're in right now, for all the positive things that are out there, there's so much negativity, but there's so much huge change happening. And for what most people don't understand why, most people just don't have a clue or they don't care. And unfortunately, those are the people that are going to be most adversely affected when something really bad happens.
You're right. I mean, and that's what's going to be hitting us, and then it's going to be chaos. So, as we talk about on the channel, and that's why I try to get everybody, and I know everybody does a great job with sharing these videos, because if you think about it, even if just take that you were in a small town, and you have 50% of the people absolutely panicking, and the other 50% are okay. It's one thing, and then go into somewhere like New York City, with 8 to 10 million people, and you have 95% or 98% that are going to be just crazy panicking. That's why I was watching this one other channel today. First time I ever saw him, and I don't even remember the name of the channel because I get so many subscribers that say you got to check this guy out. And but he was talking about everybody needs to get out of the cities now, is what he was saying, because it's going to be, you might be okay, but 98, 99% of the people are going to just completely panic. So, but at the same time, like you said, it's easier said than done, and it's just, what can you do? And so we've talked about in different videos doing little things like, I have a friend that lives in just a small little apartment, but she's got hydroponic setups and she has a ton of stuff growing on her patio. So
yeah,
little things like that.
Funny. Well, that's the thing, and you can do what need be. No matter, that's why I say, listen, wherever you are is wherever you are. I'm also former military, so I have training, and I've learned that wherever you're wind up, you hunker down, and that's it. That's where you are. You don't panic. The worst thing you can do is run out into the streets with your hands in your hair screaming. You know what I mean? That's just not going to get you anything other than maybe run over by a bus. So the reality, and the way I see it, especially actually being in the city isn't such a bad thing in a sense, because I think that's where the major federal response will be, if there is any at all, because naturally there's so many people and they have to do something. If you're in like a small town with 50 people, I mean, let's say sometimes it takes a cop a half hour to come there if you call them. Whereas a lot of these people, and I'm not saying that I would go where they should go, but, whether it's these FEMA camps that they talk about or whatever it is, most people are willingly going to line up for a FEMA camp. Trust me, that's number one. Because when their power goes out, they have no food, no cell service. That in itself, most people in New York, they'll lose their minds in about a half an hour. So if there's some people with a bus and a sign saying, FEMA camp, Wi-Fi, and electricity, they'll be gladly lining up for these FEMA camps. And God bless them, because most people, to be honest with you, will most likely die in a week if that's the case. If they're left to their own devices, maybe 2 weeks at best, but the reality is most people, especially who live in cities, they probably don't have a 2-day supply of food in their refrigerator. I remember when we had a blackout in 99, I think, around 2000 in New York City. And I had just come back shopping. I had 2 big bags of stuff for me and my wife, and went upstairs, started on the computer. All of a sudden the computer went, what the hell is that? And then it just completely shut off. So that was it. We had a blackout for 3 days. There were people in my building, they didn't have a can of soda in their refrigerator. And I looked at these people like, are you kidding me? You don't even have like a loaf of bread. You have nothing, no eggs, like just nothing. So I wound up feeding everyone. It wasn't a big building. It was only about 10 apartments. But because I had all this food and I had to cook it because it went bad. But, it's just that type of mindset that people are completely unprepared, that they'll have to go to some facility. And gladly, they'll, and you know what? God bless you. Because, I think the people that are going to thrive and survive in this new realm, as I like to call it, are going to be the people that were self-sufficient, hardworking, kind of doers, community-minded people, because that's what you're going to have to be if there is a situation where, God forbid, there's no electricity. You have to now basically, seek out water. You have to learn how to farm your own food. You have to do all these things just for food's sake. Most people are completely incapable of fending for themselves for more than 3 days. So I'm of the mindset that I'll be hunkering down for a good 3 months where I am, because I have enough food and supplies and everything else to maintain myself for at least 3 months, because most people will be either dead or gone within a month, and then I can figure it out what I need to do from that point. So I have to recommend any people there, no matter where you are, if you're in a big city, if you're in the backwoods, have 3 months of water and food. Because to kill off something really bad would happen. Now, I don't want that to happen. I'm a Christian, God forbid. But in the sake that if you want to be, have a fighting chance, God forbid something terrible happens, you gotta have 3 months supply of food and water. It's a basic survival kind of thing that, you learn in the military, you learn in survival training, so it would be so important. And a lot of people, even if there are all these supposed FEMA camps and stuff, I mean, come on, think about it. If there's 300 million people in America, 300 plus million, maybe 30 million they'd be able to even take care of at best. I can't even imagine, them being able to do anything for more than 50 million people. So that's, 250 million people that are left to their own devices.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing all that, KJ. Definitely a lot to consider and think about.
Yeah. Thanks for taking my call. I appreciate it, man. I dig your channel. I'm glad to be a part of the show. And if you have any other shows in the future, I'd be happy to call back in.
Definitely. And as I was sharing with others, every Tuesday from 10 p.m. till 12 on Freedom Slips Revolutionary Radio. So we also have...
All right, brother. You have a good night.
You too. Take care, KJ.
All right.
Well, that was an interesting call from KJ. And we're touching on, 3 month supplies. I know that's probably something most people don't do. But it is not a bad idea. And hello, you're on the air.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Hi, man. I'm a big fan of your show.
Good. Well, I'm glad to have you on. What's your name?
My name is Ray.
Hi, Ray.
Alright, well, I used to, this doctor I have, I think he's been overprescribing me, man, because, before, I went to the doctor's office, I had a 10-inch cock, and he's been giving me these pills, and I got a 2-inch cock now. I don't know what the heck he's giving me.
Okay, so we had a funny one right there, and that would be a very, very sad situation. Hello, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, man?
Good, how's it going? Who do we have with us?
My name's Rick.
Hi, Rick, and what did you want to talk about today?
The Mandela effect.
Ah, yes, very interesting. Have you been experiencing anything with it?
Well, actually, I know a lot about it. It has to do with Bible prophecy and Genesis.
Mm-hmm. And how does it relate?
There was it's complicated. There was, I've never really talked about it before. The day Mandela got out of prison was the day the Genesis program started running, the Bible. And 1995, when he was president, is when I built the machine that started the Genesis program, uploading the 2x2 into the Ark. And I was a painting company, and I did advertising for major grocery store chains all over the world. And that's why people see advertising. And from 1990 until 2005, when I turned the machine off, I'd made over $7 billion. And I had to give it all away because my billionaire partners committed a felony against me and another company. And they tried to patent my invention, saying they were the inventors, and it failed, and God told me to stick it out for 10 years after that. So that's what I did. Nobody mentioned Mandela effects until after 2005.
So you're saying it was a machine that caused it?
Yes. And the machine is from Genesis, when it talks about qubits. It's like 18 qubits by, there's supposed to be some kind of wood was used, but it's not a boat. It's a quantum structure. And 2017 it was taken apart, and I don't know where it's at now. I know where it was. I know who had it last, but I don't know where it's at now.
So you built it for the U.S. government?
No, I was partners with billionaires. We had to do with grocery stores. We were the face of grocery store chains all over the world.
So is this some sort of like strange byproduct, and you didn't expect there to be that effect?
Yeah, I didn't know it was all happening. I didn't figure it out myself until a few months ago. But the good physics behind it, the Schrodinger cat algorithm, I solved that and all of them. Einstein's, Schrodinger, all those algorithms are in Genesis. When it says 30 qubits by 30 qubits by 30 qubits is a code for Tesla's 9369. And it leads to interdimensional travel. But it's God's technology, it's not ours.
Interesting. So you feel it's an interdimensional machine that perhaps let in some beings, would you say, or?
Well, no, it's God's technology. It's called quantum physics. That's what the world's been trying to build for years now, this quantum computer. I already built that. I built it in 1990 or 95, but I didn't turn the machine on until 95. I actually figured it out in 1990. I did it without technology.
Well, very interesting.
The machine just kept track of everything for me. Basically like a giant computer. It's 300 square feet. Half the size of a football field.
Well, it's definitely a very interesting thought there. I appreciate you sharing with us.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Got any other questions?
No, not at the moment. But yeah, definitely very interesting. So thank you again for sharing.
All right, later.
Take care. Not sure what you guys think about that one. So, anyway. Hello, this is Michael. You're on the air.
Alive?
You are live.
The guy was talking before me, and what's going on with him? You know, it's very interesting his topic and what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was interesting thought. It was a machine that caused the Mandela effect.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was like, the Mandela effect? I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, I believe the Earth is flat, and I'll explain to you if you want me to, but you don't, I mean, do you care if I believe that?
You could explain your point on it. It's definitely one of those things that brings up a lot of contention, it seems. But yeah, what's your thoughts on the flat Earth?
Yeah, I tell you, it's the government Nazis. And, I believe that the flat Earth, they say it's round when you go in the ocean, it's all round. It's not true. It's the government that is making it round. It seems like it is, but it's truly no. It's flat. The moon recording was not real. The quality was too high for that time, so I don't believe it was real. It was just a projector.
So if the Earth is flat, then are we living on like basically a spaceship?
Well, I don't know about that, but I believe what my topic about the sphere is, it's infinite. You can't really fall, but there's like a barrier, and it's a fake barrier. You can't fall off it because it's a sphere where you're stuck in one place. You can't get out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
see, so is the Earth the only planet that there is, or the only thing that there is? There's no other places anywhere where people live, any other beings live?
I believe we're under aliens, under their hands. I think they believe we're their slaves, and we're some kind of some random planet they found and they captured us, and we're just under their hands, and the government is part of them, so they're keeping an eye on it.
Do you think that all the other planets, if they exist, are flat too, like Mars and Jupiter and Venus?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
Do you think that they're just stationary, or do they revolve around the sun?
I think they're stationary. I think the sun is not real. I think it's just something that was just put there by an alien or something. I don't believe it's an actual source of, what you call it, stars. I don't believe that.
Okay, so
I do believe they're stationary, yes, sir.
interesting. Well, thank you for sharing your opinion with us then, my friend.
Yes, sir. Don't be listening to the government. Them scumbags they'll be listening right now. The FBI can knock on my door, but I just have to say the truth.
Yeah, we definitely don't trust them. We keep our eyes and ears open.
Yep. Freedom of speech, brother.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have a good one. Thank you for calling.
No problem.
All right, take care.
You too.
Our flat Earth theory. So that's great comments, guys, too. It's like, so if the Earth is flat, then all the other planets are flat as well, and nothing's really rotating. Like I shared with you guys before, the only way I would believe in flat Earth is if we're living in a scenario like the movie Dark City. So, when you guys familiar with Dark City? Yeah, I was grinning, definitely, MM, and thank you, Kat. In Dark City, it all turns out that they were living on an alien spaceship. That was the bottom line, and that's the only way I could really see if the Earth is flat, then we're living on a spaceship, and we're more prisoners than we thought in that case. Or more of an experiment, truly living in the ant farm. It's that was quite a movie. So everyone, thank you so much for joining me for this live chat. And again, I will be on Freedom Slips Revolutionary Radio Studio A tomorrow from 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time until midnight. So definitely come join me tomorrow. We'll take more call-ins tomorrow, and then we'll do this again, and we'll try different forums as well. So we'll try doing some where we're going to be sending out healing energy, and we could take requests for healing energy, and we could all send our healing energy to people as you guys go ahead and let us know who needs the energy as well. So we'll definitely do that as well. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. For some reason, could not get on tonight. It was like the server was blocked. And I don't know if it's just a bad time, 9 p.m., or perhaps it does have something to do with President Trump's speech. But anyway, thank you so much for your patience. You guys are a great group. You're a beautiful family. I love every one of you guys. And I love seeing you guys get stronger together and growing together. So everybody, take care out there. Love, light, peace to you all. Namaste, my friends.